Hello, my friends. Welcome back to the Lost Art Project Veterans Voices. I'm your host, AJ Cox, and today we're having a part 12 of John Crouch's story. It's going to be fantastic. Can't wait to hear all about it. But if you are enjoying these podcasts, make sure you hit up the website. That's the Lost Art Project, veteransvoices.org. Go check us out, see what we're all about. We are a new nonprofit, so if there's any way you can help us out, it'd be much appreciated. A big shout out to the Till Valhalla Project out there doing amazing things. If you don't know anything about them, go check them out. Even if you do, go back and check them out again. I'm telling you, an amazing organization. You can always find them at tillvalhallaproject.com. Also, the Marine Corps League is now having veteran service officers specifically for the Marine Corps League. You can find them at mcleague.org and look up the VSO locator. Or you can always call 703-207-9588, extension 299.
Are you a Marine veteran? Are you missing that bond you had on active duty? Then I have a place for you. Join the only congressionally chartered Marine Corps veteran service organization, the Marine Corps League. Get that brother and sisterhood back in your life. Become one of the fewer, the prouder, a Marine Corps League member.
Oh, buddy, I forgot to hit the button. Hold on a second. We are back. I've got John with me here. I've got to add him to the stage. We're here. We're back. We're doing good. As soon as I can figure out the whole system, I totally screwed it up. John, how you doing?
Man, I am pumped. I had an awesome weekend. I went to Paris Island, the land that God forgot. The sand was 18 inches deep. The sun was blazing hot. And when I get to heaven, St. Peter, I will say, another Marine reporting, sir. I've served my time in hell. I went to where we make Marines on the East Coast.
Very nice.
Two reasons. The Marine Corps, the East Coast Drill Instructor Association for former drill instructors, their arrival date was Thursday the 14th, and they departed this morning. And my platoon from 35 years ago, platoon 1037, my first one as a senior drill instructor, they wanted to get together as well. So I did everything I could to give them a behind-the-scenes look at what life is like at Paris Island, because when they're there, their freaking eyeballs better be straight to the front, not freaking eyeball in my area.
Perfect. Yeah.
Took them to drill instructor school, got them a good 40 minutes inside there telling stories and about drill instructor school, what it was like, and how difficult it was to get through as a student Marine. Took them to the Marine Corps Museum.
Yeah.
But I mean, what Marine doesn't want to stop in to look at one of their Marine Corps museums to see our history?
That's right.
Took them to a recruit graduation on the parade deck. We had VIP seating with the Drill Instructor Association, and they really appreciated that. And got some pictures in front of the Marine Corps Drill Instructor dedication monument of a male and a female drill instructor at parade rest with their swords. Took them over to 1st Battalion headquarters, got some pictures in front of there. Of course, we went to their old barracks and got the first sergeant to let us in and spend some time in there smelling the old sights and sounds that meant so much to them.
Yeah.
I would like to, I wanted to PT their ass on the quarterdeck, but none of them were capable of performing such physical demanding tasks. Except Chris Vanesky, but he insists that I call him Valensky because for 13 weeks I called him Valensky, but he never corrected me. What the hell? But so when I was signing, I got them each a copy of The Pressure Cooker, Forging Naval Officers Through Marine Leadership, the book that I published of nothing but drill instructor stories, which for Marines is porn. And he insisted that I dedicate the book to Corporal Valensky, not his proper name, Vanesky, because that's what I called him for 13 weeks.
That's awesome.
And
that's the way it should be right there.
yes. And then I got interrupted, I think, by Dan Persinger, 3-time PFC. I mean, not everybody gets to be a PFC 3 times in their career.
Very true. Yeah.
He's an overachiever, and but he's a very successful businessman.
Very
but
cool.
I think it was Kim that interrupted me as I started to do my dedication. So I used the wrong letter with indelible ink. I thought, fuck. So he scratched it out, and then I wrote something like, interrupted by fucking Persinger again. And then went down and then wrote what I wanted to say is, the follow on to him.
Very nice.
Yes.
That's awesome.
What else would we do? They considered a conditioning march that I had them park across the street from Drill Instructor School. And then we marched straight over to General's headquarters and got we didn't make it on time. Why? Because I wasn't driving. If I was driving, we would have been on time. But I told them when we get to the gate, go to the left. But they seen everyone in the van wearing red shirts. They go, oh, 1st Battalion Family Day T-shirts,
Right.
That's all civilians. And I'd already handed up everybody, all of our ID cards. We already had pre-approval. So now we had to get over there, empty out the van, let the MPs come through and check us for weapons and whatnot.
Right.
So we arrived just in time to not be seated in the VIP seating for the big event, which was going to start 20 some minutes earlier. But we did get a good picture with the base commanding general, Brigadier General Williamson, gifted orator. And I've heard him speak before last year.
Yeah.
And, then we went and marched down to the parade deck. And I didn't realize how challenging that would be for some of them, because I kept forgetting that a couple of them have new hips, not the original ones that were issued, so they don't march as fast.
Right. Got to get them replaced every now and again.
And I didn't believe in having bottles of water with us, so I mean, that's clutter. And they were parched. It was a hot day at Paris Island, and marched them all the way down there, all over God's creation. And they wanted so bad. It was like Boy Scouts on their first road march.
Yeah.
Panting for water. And so me and Chris went and got the van and brought up, that'd be Chris Valensky, formerly known by his parents as Vanesky, but got the van and brought it over and picked him up and went to get something to eat, had a good time. And
Very
then
cool.
Here it is, 1600. They all want to go to the hotel and crash out.
Yeah.
So, and I told them last night, and I told them the morning of and during the day. I said, yeah, you'll have plenty of time to rest when you're dead. Today, we are on a tour and a reunion. And just going back to the barracks and not the barracks, but the hotel and taking a damn nap. So I left them. I offered, anybody want to go with me to the drill instructor reunion? I'm going to do the cadence calling competition and the storytelling competition. None of them. They all went and crashed out.
No kidding. Wow.
Yes. And I'm sure Jim Beam had something to do with that from the preceding night.
Good old Jim. Yeah. I understand that.
He's always wrecking plans. But,
it happens.
It happened. Went to the reunion at the officer club on base called Trade Winds. Just in time, they're about to announce the very first person to come up and perform their cadence calling. So I got up to the podium, wrote my name in there, and they chose to go with former drill instructors first. And so we set a good benchmark of what the cadence should sound like.
Yeah.
When the active duty drill instructors came up for a separate competition, they were not going to have them compete with us. I thought, you got to be kidding me. No wonder the recruits look retarded when they're marching. I think, oh, they must be in first phase. They must be in forming. They must be week number 2. Many of the drill instructor cadences would not maintain a consistent 120 steps per minute.
Yeah, that's bad.
And then they'll be dragging out the left that would still be saying left when the right foot hits, and sometimes when the left foot hit again. It's supposed to be short, sharp. It's supposed to be sharp, curt. Chop them off. When the foot strikes the deck, left. When the right foot hits the deck, right. We don't go left, right. I thought, oh my gosh. But I think the retired drill instructor, former drill instructors with their winded voice, because many of them are 70 to 80 years old.
Wow.
And, we're still better cadence callers overall if I were to score each one of them with a scoring matrix.
Yeah.
And the judges, unfortunately, have not heard proper cadence in a while, because they last year they gave me first place. This year they gave me second place.
Uh-oh.
What
What happened?
How the hell did that happen?
Somebody came up and they Nancy Carey, is that what her Nancy Carey?
Nancy
They
Kerrigan.
hit you? Yeah. They knocked you down.
She gave a good cadence. I thought she was number 2, and apparently the judges thought she was number 1. That's all that matters. I'm not going to say stolen election or anything. Accept what happened and come up with a new game plan. I've already thought about the cadence that I'm going to master and perfect. It's one I've often admired, and I have that thing down in 364 days. And when I return to the scene of the crime and knock it out of the ballpark.
I love it. Man, I can't believe second place.
It could be part of a self-esteem building program. They go, you know what?
Yeah.
He set a benchmark. We're all the same people here this year as last year. Now they can say, I beat John Crouch. But then I got 2 for second places. The other was for storytelling competition.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I don't know how in the world you took second on that. You tell some great stories. I've been amused this entire time.
I tried. So the one that I use, because you only get to tell one story. I use the one where I told the story of that I've already told on this podcast, where I tried to drown the whole platoon because it's raining outside, and I had them tilt their head up to look at God, open their mouth like a seagull, put their hand cover in their right hand, touch the shoulder in front of them, forward march at the half step, which are 15-inch steps, and very slowly work our way down to the company. And where Captain Harley was not pleased with what he saw, and made sure that I knew that the lesson had been taught and to never do it again. So I can only say one thing, and you being a swim instructor can really appreciate this.
Yeah.
Although I trained 8 platoons at Parris Island, 2 series as a series guns, and 9 classes at Navy OCS, I only drown-proofed 1.
That's pretty good odds, though. I mean, just 1.
Yes. Yeah, just 1. I know those 60-some Marines are not going to drown because I proved it.
That's right. I like it. You got to prove it every now and again. It's good. But so you got second and second. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's respectable.
Let me grab them right here. So make sure I'm not going to hold them upside down.
Yeah, there it is. Very nice.
So
they did you out right. That's good.
Yeah. So I'll tell you the last few remaining tidbits of stories.
Okay.
I had an officer candidate named Winger. Winger was class 07-98 in the Navy OCS. Mm-hmm. He's the one that took forever to get birth control glasses that which are government issued, and he had his own personal glasses. And I don't know what it was about Winger. He must have reminded me of somebody I just didn't like in life, because every time I stood in front of the formation, my eyes would capture him, zone in, and then I'd feel my blood pressure boil, and I'd want to kill him. And it's probably some of it has to do with he didn't look like the others. Yeah. Either no glasses or birth control glasses. You don't get to wear your Ray-Bans or whatever fashion design brand that you have.
That's right.
And allegedly, it was no fault of his own. It was that he's got some kind of weird shaped head or eyes that prevented them to have inventory that's in stock and just slap in a set of lenses and say, here you go.
Oh, wow.
I don't know, maybe one ear is higher than the other. I'm not sure.
I mean, that would definitely change how your glasses sit for sure if it's like that.
But he kept going to medical and begging them to somehow expedite the process. He says, "You have no idea how much my drill instructor hates these glasses that I'm wearing." And every time he sees me, he's real close to committing a court-martial offense through physical assault because I still have these glasses on. And I love him. He's an awesome guy. In fact, I told him at the end, I says, of all the candidates and Marines I've ever trained, I think you've received more wrath than any other. And of course, you're former enlisted, and you were already toughened to a certain extent of military life. The fact that you have no quit in your DNA meant the world to me. He says, I wasn't going to let some short prick get the better of me and get my DOR. There was no way I was giving you a DOR.
Nice. Hey, whatever gets you through.
It's always those people who are 5'8" and taller that give you shit. And, and I was 5'7" and 3/4. And, so one day I said something to the effect of, and I wish I could remember the story perfectly. You're probably, let me guess, SIDS, sudden infant death syndrome.
Yeah,
You've heard of it, right? For the love of God, may you please be blessed with SIDS before Reveille. Weird.
That's good. Wow.
So one day I went to, my wife was visiting from out of town, and so we went to the Outback restaurant to have a good meal. And officer candidates who are approved for off-base liberty, they wear the white uniform, the dress white uniform.
Yeah.
So that we can find them out in town where we can watchfully keep an eye on them. And so there's the booth they're going to set us at was right next to a booth that had 6 officer candidates in it. Now they weren't mine, but they knew me. Because there's only 6 drill instructors and a chief drill instructor total at that program. And I may have already tortured them at some point at PT or in the hallways or outside or doing their military training tests, also known as a room locker personnel inspection. But I could feel the temperature drop 40 degrees. They were waving frantically to get the attention of the wait staff. And then they took probably a $20 bill. They had him come down and listen so he could whisper. And he probably said something along the lines of, here's $20. Find us another table now. That is one of our drill instructors. And trust me, we don't want to be anywhere near him.
Oh, that's too good.
About 4 minutes later, they're all getting up out of their table, taking their drinks to go sit somewhere else in the safe zone where I wouldn't hear them and they could relax.
That's a no-win situation for them because if they even attempted to say hello to you, then you're going to get them for that. Or if they don't say anything to you, you can get them for that. I mean, it's no win.
I used to sit down the duty hut where they all have to come march down there and sign out that they're leaving the base for off-base liberty.
Right.
And they have to be in their uniform and they get inspected by the watch commander, who's ever the watch commander. Sometimes I'd hang out down there. So you'd see them come down, they'd pick me up in their peripheral vision. They go, fuck. And they take off and go away because they're afraid I might cancel their time off because I'd inspect their uniform. I'd say, oh, nice freaking Irish pennant you got there, pig. I want a 1,000-word essay and a chit for paying on my desk. Once you have those accomplished, then we'll talk about you signing out. So it's better to be late for wherever they were going than to risk a chit for pain, which is a self-report chit, so that I can torture them at my convenience at some later time.
Yeah.
When I need some entertainment. My very last class, I had this idea because as my program was winding up for me, I thought, man, it's my last class. I wish I had this idea at the beginning of my tour. So I went to a computer and I created signs, and I taped them in the bathrooms, on the wall lockers in their rooms before they arrived. So when they did arrive, the signs there, I think there's 5 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 signs.
Okay.
So start off with class 1-2-9 or 8, which is 1998's 12th class. Started with 34 originals and 3 pickups. The pickups were sitting there in G Company waiting to roll into the next class because they're either a test failure for some event or they were wounded, not wounded, but injured, and now have fully recovered.
Right.
And that's really the only reason that they're going to roll in. At week 5, our count on deck was down to 19 from 34. And the 3, which would really be 37, was down to 19. And those 3 pickups that rolled in rolled right back out.
Wow.
So 19 originals graduated. And as always, attrition was the mission. Now, a lot of those 19, was that 19, says 10, 14, 15. So 16, 17, 18. So of those 18 that didn't stay in the class, probably only about 6 or 7 were DORs, but the rest had rolled backwards in training because of test failures.
Right.
Once you have your second failure of anything, you're gone. You have to go backwards 2 weeks in training. And you only have 1 failure ever in the program to stay with your original class. So the sign said, if your vocal cords are not ripped to shreds with blood and lung tissue flying out of your mouth with every response, you're not trying hard enough. You're a drill instructor. Gunnery Sergeant Crouch. Here's the next one. Hey, pigs, guess what? Don't unpack. I have planned a trip to hell for you and I, but only I will be coming back. You're a drill instructor. Gunnery Sergeant Crouch. Now, they get to see these before they ever see me.
Oh, nice.
So they're probably thinking of me as this 9-foot giant. The next one. You had best develop a sincere love for discipline, drill, intensity, and pain. For these are the things that I cherish most in life. You are my last class, and by God, those that survive will have some bizarre stories to tell. I create officers the way God creates diamonds, under immense pressure, testing the fragility of their flaws. Those that survive are priceless. Those that crumble were never worthy of the rewards. You're a drill instructor.
That's a good one. Oh, my God.
I despise weakness of character. It fills me with vicious thoughts of inflicting pain on the whole class. I have always acted on those thoughts. God help you, should I hear anything but a lion's roar come out of your mouth, for I will crush your spirit if I hear just one soft-spoken voice. You're a drill instructor, Gunnery Sergeant Crouch. So, about 1 year into my time at OCS, I was instructed by the chief drill instructor. He says, Gunny, I don't like the fact that you're here on Saturday, Sunday of Poopyville, that you're here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, reveille to taps, when all the other drill instructors are not doing that with their classes. I said, I understand that you're living here as a geographical bachelor, but I also don't want you being tempted and PTing them. I says, I've never PT'd them, Master Guns. I said, I may pop blankets. I may have them polish brass in super intensity, but I have never PT'd them because that's against your direction and the SOP. He says, well, you're not going to have contact until after they're cleared for incentive physical training, which typically is Wednesday. So I said, well, what about this compromise? How about I put a big sheet in the hallway from the ceiling so you can't see me, but I can give words of encouragement at night, at the end of their day, and at the beginning of their morning. So he thought about it. He agreed. He approved. Now, what I didn't know is just how effective of a tool this was, because it's the fear of the unknown. And
Right.
I was told by a couple of Navy SEALs who went on to become Navy SEALs from my classes, other officers who went through the program, and they all said it was scary as hell to only hear your voice, because you've got a great command voice. When you project your voice, all we can think about is, oh my God, he must be a monster. And of course, I had lighting on the ground so that I was illuminated and really as a silhouette. And so wearing the campaign cover, you gain another 7 or 8 inches on top of your head. So all they can think about is this monster that's waiting to tear them apart. And I'd say, I was at the chow hall today, pigs. I swear to God, I am going to extract not the same amount of pain and embarrassment you caused me, but 5 times as much. You embarrassed me for a minute and 35 seconds. Guess what? Multiply it times 5, bitches. I'm going to torture your soul. It's happening. It's coming. I'm not going to tell you when, what day, what hour, but when it's here, you will know, because your muscles begin to decompose when I torture you. And
that's perfect.
So we had people DOR, and I heard this from officers, decades later. They'd say, John, my roommate, he says, I'm not sticking around for him. There is no fucking way I'm facing this guy. And DOR'd from the program.
Are you serious?
Dead serious. His roommate, he tried to talk him out of it. He says, no, I'm not facing that guy, because I was given threats all the time. Yeah. And I would talk, I'd memorize, I'd write down names. So they're in the chow hall. They got their helmet liner that's painted silver with their name on the side of that helmet liner with masking tape. It might say Cox. That's the name of a typical screw up. And so I'd write down the name Cox, eyeballing, whatever, right? And so later on, when I had them on the other side of the sheet, I go, I'm taking careful note of some of you pigs, because I watch you everywhere I go. Cox, when you were at chow today, lunch chow, I noticed that you whispered to the candidate to your left. What was so sweet and funny that you had to whisper to him? What was it, Cox? We're going to find out when we're in the pit. It is just not you. I'm going to torture, Cox. I'm going to torture the whole class, because one screws up, we all pay. That's how it is in life. That's how it is in combat. And so these things were just mentally wearing on them. And they're thinking, how many more days? How many more days before we finally see him? And then I remember some of them have told me, when it was safe, like, decades later, they say, when the sheet was gone and we saw you, we kept waiting for the big guy to come out. There's no way this little guy could have created that much intensity with his voice. It had to be somebody else.
Boy, were they wrong.
They were wrong. I was just filled with the Spirit. I was like one of those religious churches where the whole congregation goes crazy and is jumping around and doing I'm not sure how you exercise. You've got backflips and cartwheels. I was all over that place.
Oh, that's great.
And, so I've heard from some of them that they tore them down later on when they felt it was safe to, and kept them as mementos. Like, oh, I got to keep that. This is a great memento.
That's awesome.
So I started to tell a story I told the story about class 0997 stole back from my office 2 rifles that I had confiscated.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went and talked to the class and told them that this is their moment of truth. Well, when they went ahead and disclosed, who it was that did it. So there's maybe 5 of them, as I recall. I know a couple of them were Phillips, Navy SEAL, former enlisted, petty officer first class. Tippins, I think Cisco, the Marine Recon, was in there. I'm pretty sure Bo Locke was. If not, I'm surprised, but I'm pretty sure Bo Locke was there. And I'm trying to remember who else. Bo Locke retired a captain and was a Top Gun instructor early in his career.
Wow.
But so I had them out there for what was going to be a very long PT session in the pit. And so I noticed when they came down there, one of them was wearing a white T-shirt underneath their wash khaki shirt.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't a plain white T-shirt. It was another shirt that had printing on it. Well, that's not allowed. I said, oh, so since Officer candidate, let's just pick Locke wants to wear his own idea of a white T-shirt. I want everybody upstairs get into PT gear and get back down here. You got exactly. I gave them an almost impossible time.
Yeah.
And they're limited on the path that they have to go to get there. Now it's an H-shaped building, and the pit was, let's just say, at the south end, but they were living at the north end. And the only way to get the north end was to run around the building, around the sidewalk, all the way down the other sidewalk, and then up the staircase. But they decided, and they also had the privilege, if they wanted, to go up the near staircase, but they had to go through the building all the way to the opposite end to their session, their area of the building. And that would be quite a haul, easily close to 200 yards in length.
Okay.
I gave them almost impossible to achieve. And I'd already PT'd them a little bit when I noticed the T-shirt. So I've already winded them a little bit. And so I sent them up there to do it. So the class couldn't see from where they were. But what they decided on after like the second or third attempt, they told them, if you get sent up here again, we're going to have a changing party right here at this end of the barracks. And so they had canteens of water for hydration. They had a dressing crew. It's like the NASCAR, Formula One racing. I didn't know this shit. All of a sudden, their times are getting, they're still on time, keeping track, because now that pit crew had come to where the pit is on the second floor, and they had probably cracked it, and they, heard how many minutes I gave them, and they started their watch, to look at it, to know how long they had that they could keep them up there before they had to send them back out. And I kept sending them back and forth to change uniforms, and I was probably PTing them in each set of uniforms, so they have a lot of laundry to do. And but I didn't learn about that until the end of training. I think when they're really safe, like 1 or 2 days from commissioning. And I smiled. I appreciated their creativeness, because their attitude is, if you weren't cheating, you weren't trying. And
it's a good motto right there.
It is. But love that teamwork. I mean, they all took a risk. They all could be punished if they were caught. And they carried everything they needed down there for them. And as they kept getting changed into uniforms to get their ass wore out and PT'd in the pit. And love that attitude.
Wow.
Science. Here we go.
Well, that's teamwork.
It is. Teamwork makes dream work.
That's right.
So one day I was, we just finished an event called Change of Command. So the outgoing graduating class on Wednesday of grad week, graduation week is on a Friday. So on Wednesday at, I think, 1500, they have a change of command ceremony. Same things you'll do in the fleet as officers. They're going to do it as relieving the senior class on deck, which are called candidate officers, and everybody else is officer candidate. And so just a slight terminology change. So now my class was going to become candidate officers for 2 weeks, and they would run the battalion, and based on their overall score ranking for academics, physical, PT, all military bearing, all those categories, they were scored out, and then they assigned billets based upon your overall grade point average.
Right.
And so whoever had the highest was the battalion commander. The regimental commander. And so they were like a 05 in the Navy. And so they wore different kind of insignia, but they wore the insignia of an 05 that was similar. And all the way down to the ensigns, the 01s, 01s, and for pay grade. And so after that ceremony, during that ceremony, they provide T-shirts of what their shirt design was and why they came up with that design. And then they went ahead and talked about the call sign that they put on the back of each of the staff members. One time mine was Dad. They thought my drill instructors thought it was affectionate. Oh, Dad, how sweet. No, it's Dad. They say, shh, here comes Dad. It stood for death and destruction. And one of my officers told the drill instructors when they were giving me some shit, and then they shut them up real quick. But they had won the dungeon master because I was always keeping them in the dungeon and doing close order drill.
Yeah.
And one was called Drill Pimp because I told them that, remember the story about, intense drill is like an orgasm, only it's safe. You don't have an STD, but you have the same euphoric high from the release of endorphins from a perfectly executed inspection arms. Well, I was called Drill Pimp because I said, I want my officer candidate slutty. I want you giving it up. I want you to have a love affair with this weapon. And so I became a drill pimp. And one of them was Buddy Fuckers. And it's because it was that exercise where I take the run drops at the last quarter mile before the end of a run. I would tell the class, I'm going to maintain this pace. If you finish behind me, you are a run drop. Go. Now they all had to start sprinting. But the losers start drifting back. And, of course, I would use that exercise called Buddy Fuckers, if you recall me telling the story. And that was whatever number I get, let's say 7 candidates, I would pair them off, in twos, and then one would have 3. And I said, when I say go, one of you will sprint to that location. I'd point at about 100 yards away at the end of the obstacle course or wherever it was at. And then you sprint back. And the other one's doing 8-count bodybuilders, or they're doing bends and thrust. So it's a buddy fucker because if he's fast, you have to run again. If he's slow, you're freaking tired.
It's that again is a no-win situation.
Correct. Yeah. I can't remember what some of the others were, but right after one of these ceremonies, it was for class 02-98. 02-98 ended up having 3 Navy SEALs.
Oh, wow.
And then I had the wannabe, and who, because he was friends, and I can't remember why, but it was Dixie Butler. His proper name is Chris Butler, but he goes by Dixie. And but at that time, he went by Pig. And so if you remember me telling you a story about that female officer candidate who was married to a Marine, and I asked him what body part he wanted me to focus on, he said abs. So I had her at one point join all the Navy SEAL wannabes to do only abs every single day, while the Navy SEAL wannabes would be doing abs on odd days, push-ups on even days.
Yeah.
So this particular class had a great personality, a lot of fun with them. I left them, and I went to go get me a sub sandwich at Subway on base. As I'm driving, I see a squirrel in the road that's dead. I thought, holy crap, I have a great idea.
Oh, no.
So I get my sandwich, and I ask for an extra bag. And so I take the extra bag. It's a see-through plastic bag that says Subway. And it's still there and hasn't been run over yet, other than the one time. And I get out and put my hand in the bag. I grab it, and I pull the bag around it. And so now I have my bag and my of a dead squirrel, and I've got my sandwich. So I come back into the barracks And to set the scene here, we had just completed about 40 minutes earlier, about a 5-mile run.
Okay.
It was a motivation victory run. And it was their last formation run they would do. And so we went ahead and went on a very motivating run. The whole battalion goes. We're up front. Everybody else is behind us by seniority. And I told my class that you're doing road guards, and same instruction as I always give. You will become a hood ornament before a vehicle gets through. Nobody enters the intersection when you're the road guard.
Yeah.
And under no circumstances do you freaking move. Well, it all went perfect like it was supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm going to lie to them. It's okay to lie to people when you're going to have fun. So I walk in, I go, 0298. And they shouted off, "Here, sir! Get online now, pigs!" And I was very angry in my voice, not loving, you know?
Yeah.
And you say, is there really a difference? There is. Hang around long enough, you'll notice the difference, subtle as it may be. They're outside. I said, "Eyeballs! Snap, sir!" I said, "You had a simple fucking task to do. A simple fucking task today. What was our task? What were we supposed to do?" I'm not giving leading questions, statements. Yeah. So I'm making them try to come up with things and be brave and courageous and say whatever it is. And no one came up with this. Road guards, how about that, huh? Road guards, do you remember that? Do you remember being a road guard? Maybe that's why there was a fatality today. Are you aware that there's a fatality? I am now. I'm aware because I just finished being briefed. I have to be in my uniform to go see the base schools commanding officer in about 20 minutes. So this is probably my last time that I have the opportunity to even talk with you pigs. But I swear to God, if I still have a career left, I'm going to torture you. I said, we had a special visitor with us running today. He was running tail end Charlie at the very back with the newest officer candidates to motivate them. His name was Rocky. He had a sidekick in life named Bullwinkle. And they had a syndicated TV show called Rocky and Bullwinkle. Let me tell you about Rocky. He was a warrior. He loved anything that was aggressive. He got kicked out of the Navy SEALs. He was a badass. And he's dead. He's dead because of you, and you couldn't do your fucking job. I said, I took the bag and I flung it, but I hanged on to the back end, so his dead carcass comes sliding out. Now he's laying out spread out on the ground. A little bit of blood, not too much. Tongue hanging out. I said, "You killed him, you bury him." I said, "And you will bury him with full honors. And you make sure that a eulogy is given, fitting of such a hardcore warrior." And I should have pulled. Let me see if I can pull it up while talking at the same time.
Oh my gosh!
In hindsight, we make decisions, and they're not the best decisions. And my not best decision is when I decided that I was not going to leave my brand new class and go down there and participate. Let me back up one here. Let's go to documents. Go to Rocky. Get out of here, you bastard. I thought for sure I had Rocky in here. Rocky's funeral, Rocky the squirrel. I got everything but my damn PowerPoint presentation. Motherfucker. All right. So they put on the full thing. And so I was up there torturing my brand new class and regiment at about, 1900 at night. And so I got my pigs in the squad in the passageway, 45-degree angle, and on their backs doing leg lifts, and 6 inches high, sir. And you could hear the screaming and the pain in their voice. They were being exercised to to muscle failure. And one of my officer candidates from the senior class there, 0298, comes running in, requests permission to speak. I says, what? He says, sir, class 0298 cordially invites Class Drill Instructor Gunnery Sergeant Crouch, United States Marine Corps, to the funeral of Rocky, the run drop. And I said, well, I'm busy, pigs, but I wish I could be there. And let the class know my condolences, and you better give him a damn good send-off. I'm sure they left defeated like son of a bitch. We went through all this effort for him. Yeah. Let me tell you about the effort they went through. The next day on my desk, I see the obituary.
Yeah.
And it talked about how he grew up on the mean streets of Pensacola, and that he was hanging out with the wrong crowd and got in a lot of trouble, was always in fights. The judge told me he had two choices. He's either going to go to prison or he's going to join the Marine Corps. So he joined the Marine Corps. And in the Marine Corps, he kept getting in trouble. And they said, this kid belongs in recon. So they sent him to recon. And, of course, he passed recon. And Rocky, the squirrel. And then, of course, he got kicked out of recon because he kept getting drunk and having fights and tearing up the place. So back out in civilian life as a reject from the military, the Navy says, hey, that's just the kind of person we want in our Navy SEAL teams. And so he went to BUD/S, completed Hell Week, completed the 6 months of continuous training, got his parachute wings, got his scuba bubble, he got the trident, and indicated he was a full-fledged Navy SEAL, but still got himself kicked out, but wanted to be around the intensity of Marine Corps drill instructors. He occasionally would come run PT during these victory runs. And unfortunately, he was hit by a car because of officer candidate not doing his fucking job of being a hood ornament. And then they had photographs developed with that. So they went to illegally off base and had a 1 hour photo done. They took photos. So they had in PT gear with swords, they had a regular staff with swords that you would normally have for a graduation or a retirement ceremony,
right,
or an actual staff of about 8 officers and officer candidates. And then they had a couple formations out there in the street lamp illumination that was going on. They had dug a grave for him on the front side of the barracks on the section that we called the dungeon. They created a headstone for him and put it there. And Rocky, the run drop, and RIP, and then put the date, that same day. They had a cigar box, and they put a handkerchief that was pressed out neatly, and it was stamped 02-98, which was their class number, and over it, and that's where they kept the carcass in. And you can see two pallbearers holding this, and they went through the whole thing. They had the band out there because candidates participate and learn to play musical instruments if they don't know how, so they can have a graduation band every 2 weeks. So they out there, they did the whole kit and caboodle like an eighth and I experience. The photographs showed Rocky laying down with 5 or 6 officer candidates, laying down with him, smiling. They put a set of ID tags around him, but they went to the ID tag machine over at Regiment and punched it out. This is Rocky, run drop, class 0298, and then the date that he was killed in action. And they displayed it and positioned it just right so it's visible as they took a good close-up picture. And I thought that was it. What I didn't know is there was someone who was a taxidermist in that class. No. He got a razor blade, skinned it, tanned it with salt, and then put it under glass on an 8.5 by 8 by 10 frame, and then had a nice type information in there, and with his ID tag, under glass, and they presented it to me at the very end of officer candidate training about 2 weeks later when they were about to be commissioned. So it was their last lunchtime on a Thursday before they were going to be free to go pick up their family and go to the High Moms event. So at lunchtime, they asked me to come into the ward room, which, we can't go in there unless you're invited. Right. It's only for the graduating class, treating them like officers. And they had this to present to me, and how touching. So I kept it for a couple of decades, but there's all kinds of vermin, little tiny like insects in there still crawling all over it. So my other wife was upset about that whole thing. So I scanned it and got beautiful photographs of it under frame and glass with the class penny I put in there. And nice. But yeah, that's a great experience, and they gave me something indelible to remember as well, because I did my best to give them for indelible memories. So did I tell you a story about a DI school instructor? That was a friend of mine from my first tour. And now I'm on my third tour there as a course challenger. And I told him that his test answers are wrong, that this question is not, your score sheet's incorrect. He says, what does it matter? You don't remember this story, do you? No. I didn't think I told you. And so his name is, what the hell? You own it. But Sergeant Major Booth. And
okay.
And I saw him at the reunion just 2 days ago. I'm sure he thinks about me every time he sees me, because I've told the story a couple of times. Yeah. And so I took a weapons exam. You have to take every exam the recruits take during boot camp, and then all the unique exams that are unique to drill instructor school, and all the physical demonstration classes you have to do as well. Mm-hmm. And you have to do them all without failure first attempt in a period of 10 working days.
Right.
So you have 2 full weeks. Well, I asked, he said, you passed. I says, well, I'd like to see the score sheet. What does it matter? You passed. I said, well, I think there's something wrong with your score sheet. And so I remembered the question that I'm concerned about, and I want to know if I got it right or wrong. I found the question. He says, there's nothing wrong with that answer. That's the correct answer. You missed it. You got it wrong. I said, I can prove it to you. He says, no, you can't. He says, I know. I missed the same damn question. And I challenged it, but I couldn't find the answer. So he left and the room that I was in. So I go to my books. It takes me about 5 minutes, and I find the answer, the correct answer, which is not the one that's on the score sheet.
Right.
So I said, hey, Scott, I said, take a look at this. I show him. So he looks at it. Now it's soaking in. It's not that big of a read. It's probably 3 sentences, right?
Yeah.
Now it's soaking in. He's probably reflecting on his life experience about a year and a half earlier. God, he explodes. All of a sudden he explodes, right? Like he just saw a picture of his wife cheating or something.
Yeah.
He explodes. He takes the book and slams it across the room. God damn motherfucker, son of a bitch. I said, what the fuck is wrong with you? He said, I missed that question. I knew the score sheet was wrong. I couldn't find the answer to prove it. And therefore, I got recycled and put into a full-time class for 3 months.
Oh.
I said, Scott, that wasn't the only question you missed. One of those other questions you could have got right. I had a passing score, but I couldn't find the answer to prove them wrong. So therefore, I did fail, and I got a 79 instead of an 80. And so we always, as Marines, we find great humor in the misery of other people.
So true.
So the paper that I can't find any digital documentation on, the original digital, originally I did it on a typewriter in 1988. Mm-hmm. And then a couple years later, I transitioned to a Word document, most likely,
Yeah.
and kept it throughout the decades. And somehow it got lost in life digitally. But I know that I still have a hard copy up in a footlocker somewhere. And so some of the things I remember is my rules for being a successful drill instructor. I had finished my last platoon, first tour. I'm now going to spend about 5 weeks in the company office handing out shit paper and linen and doing other admin type of things until I can go do something different.
Right.
And so I thought, what do I wish I knew on day one? And so one of the first things I put on there is make your mind up now. Are you the drill instructor that the chain of command sleeps easy knowing that you're on duty? Or are you the drill instructor that when they look at the duty roster, who's on duty tonight for each of the platoons thinks, oh my God, we're rolling the dice again. It's Sergeant Crouch, right?
Yeah.
Just make it, because one drill instructor, everybody wants on their team. The other drill instructor, not too many people want on their team because they're too far from the red line. And they always tell us, we want your toes on the red line, not over, on the red line. And I always went with the attitude of know the black and white, like that back of your hand. And that's the SOP, the black and white text. And if you know the black and white inside and out, you can dangerously live in the gray zone, somewhere in between. And I did a lot. And I would tell people it's just like combat. Not that I've been to combat, but I've read enough about combat and heard enough people talk about it. Sometimes it's random chance. You're a badass Marine. You did everything right. But guess what? Today wasn't your day, and you took a bullet or a piece of shrapnel or whatever it was that happened. It got the better of you and you're dead or you're injured.
Right.
And so your career is like that too. You're walking on a razor blade without shoes. Some of you are going to get cut if you're not careful on how you place your foot and transfer the weight of your body onto that foot before you release and roll off.
Yeah.
I said, so that's kind of what it's like to be a good drill instructor. If you're not moving twice as fast as the platoon when marching, route stepping, or running PT, you might as well get a laundry number and get on the back and join them as another recruit. You should be working twice as hard as them. You're constantly moving forward and back, looking for alignment, cover, other things that are incorrect, the length of their arm swing, the way they're holding their damn head, eyeball in the area, freaking pie hole open. You know, I'd often get pissed off as, this ain't no damn Crest commercial. Cover their freaking teeth. And because some people have a natural open mouth and they're always showing their teeth like Gomer Pyle.
Yeah.
I can't stand seeing like you right now, AJ. What the fuck? Tighten them lips, boy.
I can't help it. You're making me laugh.
And so another thing I put on there was scuffing your feet tells the recruits you're just as tired as they are and details don't matter. And how do you create an awesome, aggressive, thunderous platoon that everywhere they go, they're chipping concrete and asphalt and they're wearing down their heels so that they have a wider footprint that when it does impact the ground, it makes a loud crack. Whereas if you walk gingerly on them, you have a very narrow contact point with the ground.
Right.
In fact, it was so important to me to take the pain to have the impression. I went to the cobbler on base. His name was Al. He was the second generation of the family cobbler shop. I said, Al, I would like to have a set of heels on these dress shoes that I'm only going to wear when it's drill competition. I'm not going to wear them any other time. I said, I want them to be leather, solid leather, which is more painful because there's no give. And when them heels come together and we use honor guard edge dressing, which, by the way, you can't buy anymore. But
Yeah,
there's a
they
product called
discontinued it.
But there's a product out there using AI, I found. What is the best product to give a high glossy shine like Honor Guard? And it's Angelus, Angelus. And the same thing with their black shoe polish. It's an outstanding shoe polish.
No kidding. Wow.
Yeah, for building up a good base. But once you get the base built up, go ahead and use Lincoln Stain Wax. It's going to give you a much harder, durable, longer lasting shine. And this is your public service announcement. And
it's for everybody out there that's still shining boots.
I did. So I looked at that. So first of all, I'll get back to the heels. The first time I was out there on a couple of practices, I thought, at the end of it, I felt like a woman who wore high heels. My feet were killing me. Oh my God. I couldn't believe how much shock was transmitting to the bone structure of my foot. But it was pain that was worth taking, because one thing to hear my feet click when I'm marching, but when I would march out there, for instance, dress right dress.
Yeah.
Or way out on the parade field before anyone's out there, draw a sword, head over the right shoulder, fall in! And but when I feel the hills came together, man, they cracked. Like I had two pieces of hickory and smacked them together.
Nice.
And it was beautiful. And so I don't have them anymore. I'm not sure whatever happened to them, but they got lost in the dustbins of history. But
I wore a pair of leathers for pickup one time, and that was a mistake. Because
leather shoes or leather heels?
Leather, no, the bottom of them leathers, and the whole bottom, and I went sliding everywhere. And it took me about, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes. I had to run in and get my other shoes because I was like, I'm gonna bite it, and like I was literally sliding and like running into people because I couldn't stop.
But yes, so when I was at Parris Island, I told my Marines, I says, take a look at my spit shines and take a look at those nasty core frames you'll see everywhere on this base. Yeah. I didn't see one person with edge dressing on their shoes. And but I did, and my shine was higher gloss than the dull core frame plastic shoes that the Marines were wearing. And it's horrible because, as you know, your feet sweat painfully. Ooh. And it's brutal to put your feet in there, and you'll get heat blisters on your feet if you're at the right location on planet Earth. And
that's true.
So of the two people, one had a decent shine. He was a master gunner sergeant, as I recall. No, it was the first sergeant. His last name's Craven, Craven. First Sergeant Charlie Company, 1st Battalion, MCRD. And impressive. I looked down there and go, are those leather shoes? He goes, yes. I says, I'm impressed. That's the only other pair I've seen today. And I won't say who the other person's was that was wearing one, but it was an officer, and they were a medium buff shine at best. Oh. They were not a spit shine pair of shoes. But then again, how many people are being mentored and taught how to shine? So that's unless you're a junior ROTC, you're probably not going to have that experience.
Yeah.
I mean, just a few years now, it seems like 5 years ago, when I told you that one of my female officers that lives here locally, Annie Bassett, her original name was Miller, her son went through Marine or Navy junior ROTC. So we had a brand new pair of shoes that were leather. She brought him over to my house, and I taught him how to spit shine. I took a shoe and he took a shoe, and I had him duplicate, and he ended up doing a really damn good job developing a good spit shine on them.
Right.
Today, he's living one hell of a lucky life. He is a combat photographer. He's over in Iwakuni, as I recall, is his home base. And all he does is travel 1st Marine Air Wing and or 1st Marine Division. I can't remember which one, but he's over there going to see all kinds of cool stuff, because usually you're one-dimensional in the Marine Corps. You get to see only the stuff that you do. You don't really get to see what other units do.
Right.
And him, all he does is visit other units and record and take pictures and get to be part of those experiences. And really cool to see some of the photos that his mom puts up.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a heck of a job, you know, getting to travel around, take pictures, stuff like that. Tell the story of the Marine Corps. Yeah.
The other rules for being a successful drill instructor, this does not sit well with today's Marine Corps. I know, because I've read articles over the decades and from practice, and I can see a certain point to it. I'm happy with the way I was brought into the role of drill instructor and what I witnessed as a recruit. And I just felt that was the way it should always be. So when I was a recruit looking at I was at San Diego, G Company, my barracks squad bay faced the parade deck. So I could see the parking lot where the drill instructors were. I never witnessed a drill instructor in civilian attire. I only saw them in uniform or military PT gear.
Yeah.
Never anything else. And I never saw or witnessed them with the rest of civilian society. No spouses, no girlfriends, no kids. Now, chances are some were married, had kids. Someone found them willing to be a mate.
Yeah.
They weren't forced into it. So they had the capacity to be a human, but we've never seen it. And so when I was a drill instructor, occasionally my wife would bring me something I would ask. And so I would have her park at the opposite end of my squad bay where there's no way my recruits could ever see me. And of course, at Paris Island or San Diego, you really have no interaction with other platoons, even in your series or company. And so therefore, I'm not worried about a recruit seeing me go out to my car to get a pizza and then take it back into my office. I felt that any form of public display of affection should never be witnessed by a recruit. They need to understand that you're a machine who's incapable of that level of humanity. That your events that your platoons went to, final drill, initial drill, all that stuff, I always thought it took away from the perception, the fear factor of the recruits of the drill instructor if they saw them in first phase holding, a 3-year-old child in their arms, and showing that level of gentleness and love. Now, a lot of Marines might say today that well, it's important to set an example of how to be a loving father and parent, and we shouldn't hide it. We should demonstrate to them how to be that you can do all of these things at once.
Right.
And, so it's just different schools of thought, and
I could see both the angles on that.
Yeah. And my first wife went to one graduation and one. I'm thinking she went to one final drill competition. I remember telling her, I says, "Babe, I'm pretty confident we're going to win. I'm taking them out." And I can't remember if she went or not, but and she never wanted to take time off from work. She was kind of jealous and envious of the Marine Corps.
Yeah,
that's how we are. We get very motivated and dedicated to our job.
Yeah, true.
When I dated her, I was the general's driver, and she called the general's headquarters where I was at, and she said, "This is an emergency phone call. I need to speak to Corporal John Crouch." So I'm in a planning meeting with the commanding general, the chief of staff, the staff secretary, both aide-de-camps, and a couple other people, and we're planning the visit of the commandant of the Marine Corps. And I'm being asked to step out for an emergency phone call. And one of them said, "You're not married, are you?" I says, "No, I'm not." And so I went and I took the phone call, and she said, "I am in such excruciating pain. I can't get out of the bed. My back is in so much pain." I said, "I want you to understand this. It may sound hurtful. I can't stop what I'm doing, leave to come home and help you. You're not a spouse. You're a girlfriend that I'm living with."
Yeah.
Marine Corps does not understand, especially for something as important as what we are doing. So if you're in that kind of pain, I need you to call somebody else or 911. I said, "But I cannot be there for a couple hours."
Yeah.
And, so that was probably the first nail in the coffin. But
Right.
a couple decades of the Marine Corps comes first in many situations.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
you got questions you like to ask drill instructors and Marines and anyone who's on your podcast.
I do. I have a list of questions that I always go through here.
Love to hear
Let
it.
me get to them real quick. All right. This isn't anything earth-shattering, so don't worry. Pretty simple questions, but should be some good for some good answers, I think.
All right.
All right. What is your proudest military moment?
Earning the title Drill Instructor, December 18, 1986.
Nice.
Because that was a school I really wanted to DOR from, drop on request or quit.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no way I could let that happen because of the shame that would go to my father, who was a Marine, and the fact that the Navy had a fat ass squid come through the program as a petty officer second class. And if he could get through the program, I'll be damned if I'm going to quit.
Very nice. Okay. I like that. Good answer. Good answer. What is your most embarrassing military moment?
Most embarrassing military moment. Well, I want to say the story I told where my first night of being alone with the recruits after being on the job shadowing for a few weeks. And I got interrupted by a damn recruit when I was spit shining my boots so they looked good for the hygiene inspection. And as I was lacing up my boots, he interrupted me. So I didn't get to finish the process, which is wrapping my trouser legs under the boot band so they'd be properly bloused. And then Captain Harley busting me and asking me any particular reason I'm out there without my boots being bloused.
Oh, man. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. That's good. That's good.
Professional embarrassment. Yes.
All right. If you could be one military leader for a day, who would that be?
Now, you mean the person themselves or the role or the title?
It can be either or. So if you want to do a title, you can do that. Or if there's a specific individual that over time that you've looked at and was like, man, I'd like to be him for a day. But whatever. Either way, I'm good.
Problem is, a day is not enough time to affect that kind of change that I want to create. So I have to cross off Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps.
Okay.
So what's it going to be now? I'd love something to do with flying inside the jet aircraft that I worked on. Problem is, I'm pretty damn sure I get airsick because I can't handle those roller coaster rides at the theme parks. My daughter should have been a fighter pilot, Melanie Van Mostrick.
Yeah.
But, I remember being with her about 8 years ago at the theme park, and she bought a fast pass. Now she's an adrenaline junkie, can't get enough of roller coasters.
Yeah.
She doesn't like waiting. Neither do I, but I didn't know how important it was to wait in these long lines so that your body can calm down from the last experience. So it was like ride number 6 we had fast pass to. We got there early, so there would be really no waiting. Boom, we finished that one. Let's go to this one and pick up another 8 Gs. Let's go to that one, pick up 6.9 Gs. And so I was about 1/3 into the run. I thought, oh my God, I feel like I'm going to vomit. So you start thinking positive thoughts. And then at the 2/3 of being done with the ride. And I'm doing all I can to keep it from starting to come out of my mouth. And we finally get near the end. And then they go through that very slow chopping motion of slowly getting up there and take forever to release it. And I had my hand over my mouth and there was no trash cans nearby to puke into. So I was running at a high rate of speed, trying to get out of that place. I had to go through a gift shop and I made it within like 10 steps of the male head to puke into a toilet or a trash can. And it was coming projectile vomit right into the bushes. And so a word to the wise, don't spend money for fast pass to go to theme parks because you'll probably get sick. So I can't do that. I'm wanting to think. I was on the Paris Island shooting team in 1992, and we had the 5 weapons issued to us, and I had the M14 National Match Grade, and we were supposed to shoot up to 1,000 yards with iron sights. And the whole time that we were there for 2 weeks, we never had the visibility to shoot the 1,000 yard, but we could shoot 800 yard a few days. So we did. So that was a great, man, I shot 800 yards and was hitting the black pretty damn good, picking up bullseyes at 800 yards with iron sights.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yes.
That's pretty awesome. Dang,
yep. So I'd like to have unlimited visibility and to be a sniper school. I'm not interested in stalking. That's too painfully long, too painful on the neck, the elbows, the torso, the misery, the parched. I mean, hell, you think about it. Carlos Hathcock said it took him on average, when stalking in the jungles of Vietnam, 40 minutes to retrieve his canteen, remove the cap, to get a drink, and return the canteen into its holster, properly secure it, and put his hand back on the gun. 40 damn minutes.
Yeah, I don't have the patience for that.
No. So just give me range time with all the weapons.
There you go.
Unlimited ammo and perfect weather.
Yeah.
That's what I would want to do for a day.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. Well, here we go. What is one lesson or skill you learned that you still use today?
Set the example.
Okay.
Now, people sometimes say, really? All those SOP violations you created, and you're saying set the example? Well, yes, in the regards of integrity. One thing that I refused to do as a civilian boss was to commit intellectual theft. When your employees have good ideas, then the chain of command that's in the approval process needs to know whose idea that was.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You can take credit that you made a good hire. You can take the credit that you're lucky to be blessed with great people on your team, but it's their idea. And so what I tell them when they share an idea with me that I support 100%, I says, great. I want you to send me an email and I want you to write it up and explain it. And says, I just told you. I said, because I'm going to send this up the chain of command and you are going to receive credit, because it's intellectual theft when a boss presents information as though it was their original idea.
Yeah.
And we've read about it and we've heard about it. And we've probably witnessed people do that throughout our military and civilian career. And
Very
so
true.
for me, it's about doing that. So now they're nervous. Says, don't worry, I'm going to proofread it and kick it back to you until we get it the way it should look. But they need to know the talent that you are. And I've made sure that I allow my subordinates direct access to the C-suite, the finance team, whoever. They don't need me to go on their behalf. And based upon what their job title is. So my project manager, my construction supervisor, my project managers, and the manager of the project management office, they all have direct access. My manager of facilities engineering, direct access to the CEO, COO, CFO, everybody. And they own their responsibilities. I don't need to be a middleman.
Yeah.
And so to me, setting the example for others, I've gained a great following. I mean, I've got people who are taking pay cuts. I mean, one person took about a $32,000 pay cut to work for me.
Wow.
Yes.
Holy cow.
Yeah. Sell your house, relocate the family to work for me. Had a couple others that sold their house, moved out of state to continue working for me. And
wow.
Did I talk about Chad Martin at all? A little bit. So him and I applied for the same job at my first civilian job in a hospital. Okay. So I applied to be the maintenance manager for plant operations. And he was a HVAC technician who had been there and felt qualified to do the job. And they wouldn't even give him a proper interview. And they wanted to hire me. And so he told me on day 2 that he was on my team 100%. He already liked what he saw on day 1. And to let me know that he had my back and that he would do everything possible to help me become successful there. And we did. And
Wow.
he's the one that at the 2-year mark said to me, John, I know you're not going to work for these 2 idiots your whole life. I said, wherever you go, I just hope that you have room for me on your team. And he says, but I don't want you to terminate someone's job just so I can be on your team.
Right.
Well, I get to my new job 2 years later. So it's the 4-year mark we've worked together. I leave Missouri, also known as Misery, because it's 4-season climate, and went to Tennessee, Greenville, Tennessee. And 5 weeks later, I got a job created that never existed. And I called Chad. I said, Chad, I created a position that did not exist. It's lead engineer. So you want to come here and work for me on my team? So he sold his house and moved his family of 4 kids and a wife, and came to Tennessee.
Wow.
And I continued to mentor him for additional 4 years. So I had 8 years of direct mentoring on a daily basis with him.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I left to go to Florida to start up a brand new hospital that was under construction, I was going to have 4 departments: environmental services, security, biomed, facilities engineering. Then I'd have emergency management responsibility, and how do we deal with disasters, and construction and renovation. And so I was going to have him. I told the CEO when I left, I told him I was leaving. He didn't ask any questions about me or what I was going to do. He simply asked the question, what about Chad? Because he knew Chad respected me, loved me like a father, and was willing to follow me again, because he followed me to come to Tennessee. And
Wow.
I said, well, believe it or not, Chad's been running the hospital, not me, for the last year. I want to make sure I could vouch for him.
Mm-hmm.
And to test his preparedness. And he's ready for that position. And you'd be smart to make him a competitive offer to stay and be promoted to director of engineering. And because I need to build a team.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, Chad likes working for me, and I love working for Chad. But I don't want to see him come to work for me, because he should be a director, not a manager. And that's all I have down south, is a manager's position.
Yeah.
And so he ended up being promoted to manager and stayed there a few more years, and then went to Ballad Health, and has been doing fantastic things with them for probably 10 years now. And,
That's awesome.
And he'll make me laugh, and all these proud father moments, because he'll send me a text telling me the blow by blow how something went down. So whether it's some young kid on his team who said that won't work, and Chad's Marine Corps drill instructor methodologies of making that kid like he says, fine. Well, first of all, we need to have a benchmark, and you're going to record the temperature and the pressure every 15 minutes for the next 8 hours, so that we will be able to test and prove or disprove your theory that it won't work. And but I mean, whether it's physicians, telling him that we want it colder in the operating room. He says, if we go below 68 degrees, it becomes a rainforest. Your humidity goes sky high, and you have to have your humidity between 30 and 60%.
Yeah.
And you cannot go above 60%. And so unless you have super chilled water or a secondary chilled water system, you can't get the air cool enough to do that. But setting the example, not taking intellectual theft.
Yeah, that's good. Great advice. All right, this is a tough one. In the zombie apocalypse, what would be your weapon of choice, and what anthem would be playing?
Well, there's a lot of songs I love, but now we're getting violent. So we're going to play Welcome to the Jungle.
Ooh, okay, that's good.
By Guns N' Roses. The same song that I tortured recruit Harlan, fat ass Harlan, from platoon 1037, who was a roll-in that I taught how to climb the rope so that he could finish recruit training.
Yeah.
My fault he ended up there. And the weapon of choice. Man, there's so many good weapons.
Yeah, that is true.
And I'm good with pistols. I'm good with rifles, shotguns, zombie apocalypse. Shotguns, you don't have to take too much aim, and you can take them down, bam, 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 if you're using double-aught buck. But unless you have an assault shotgun, you have to keep reloading the damn thing. I think I want I have an AR-15 Daniels Defense in my gun safe with many others, and I would use it because I've got a lot of 32 round magazines. They're saying 32 round magazines. Daniels Defense makes a 32 round magazine. Never know when 2 more rounds might be helpful.
True. Yeah. Oh, that's good.
It's got a nice green chevron recticle that when you look through, I love the green, the recticle where it's a point like a PFC chevron. It is so fast for target acquisition.
Yeah, very nice. Well, that would work well. I think it would. Yeah. You ready?
Ready.
What animal best describes your time in service?
It will not be a cat. I'll tell you that right now. I have learned to love cats because my daughter has one, Romeo. And I've done my best. I'll call him a dog all the time, and I pet him like a dog. I refuse to let him sniff my fingers. I decide when it's time to pet, and I'm petting you. And occasionally he lets me know that I guess he doesn't like feet, because whether I have socks on, I gently try to touch his belly. He gets extremely aggressive. So,
oh wow,
but it's gonna be a dog. I can tell you that much. And the dog personality. Not gonna be a pit bull because I also had compassion and empathy as a leader, and I just had different personalities for different purposes. So I've never had one. I heard that Labradors are a good breed for many personalities.
Yeah.
I definitely don't want to use the personality of a Doberman Pinscher because I had one as a kid, and they have one master and only one master. He decided it would be my father. So what happened was it was a shelter, rescue. He brought it home. His name was Cricket. And that was the name that was given by its original owner. And it was full grown, maybe a year and a half old. Well, Cricket was very protective of my father. My father had a motorcycle, and Dad wanted me to push start him from the garage door down the end of the driveway. No. So I start pushing him. All of a sudden, without a bark, without any warning, that damn dog bolted, nipped me in the butt cheek, turned around and growled. And of course, I reached back there hurting like a son of a bitch that he just nipped me in the ass. Dad thought it was so funny, he almost fell off the motorcycle. So he pushed the motorcycle back to the garage door. He thought it was cute and funny. I didn't. And I said, well, let's put him in the house. He says, Cricket, stay. Now, like that happened. That's going to make a difference, right?
Yeah.
And so I go to push him. Damn if he didn't do it a second time. A third time. And I said, I ain't doing it until he's inside the house. 3 damn times he came out there and ripped me in the damn ass. I love Boston Terriers, but I've never seen a Boston Terrier capable of defending or attacking somebody. And so I have to say a Labrador is probably a good all-around breed that can do a little bit of everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that for sure. They're good-looking dogs, too. At least in my opinion. All right. Knowing what you know now, would you do it all over again?
Without hesitation. However, I still retire because you got to make money. You don't make enough damn money as an enlisted man.
Yeah.
And whether you're a master gunner sergeant or a first sergeant, our pay separation is about $300 on average. Mm-hmm. The balance being how many years you give the Marine Corps.
I did 25.
25. I did 23 years, 8 months. And, but yeah, I've really enjoyed making a lot of money out there in management in the civilian world. And I've survived working in a Christian hospital.
Kind
trying to keep that temperament in check.
Yeah, I was going to say that's pretty impressive for you. You know, I could see that.
I'll tell you how
that would be a challenge.
I did that. Tell you how I did that. Customer service. I have this bottled up enthusiasm, right? You can't be calling cadence as you walk around the hospital. You can't be striking your heels, chipping up the tiles. So to me, it became about customer service. Our customers are the patients, the family members, the staff that work in the hospital, the visitors. Everybody's a customer. And therefore, I expect not just myself, but my whole team to give exemplary customer service. In fact, I remember the shock on someone's face who was up in the C-suite, sitting in the ready chair, the chair that if you're sitting there, you're waiting to either be interviewed by somebody at the C-suite or you've got a scheduled meeting with somebody. And I'm pretty good at guessing. I says, "Are you here for an interview?" He said, "Yes." Let me start off. I said, "Good morning. My name is John Crouch." And he stood up to shake my hand, and we shook hands. And I said, he told me who he was. I said, "Are you here for an interview?" He said, "Yes." I said, "What position?" He said, "Financial analyst." And so then I gave this very concerned look on my face, and I changed the mood instantly. So I'm going to try and capture this on video here. So he said, "I'm here to interview to be a financial analyst." And then I went, take the client. I'm not sure if I'm the first person to tell you this. There is no opening for a financial analyst. And he looked horrified, like, "What the hell? I'm excited for this job." And I said, "However, if you're a customer service expert with a specialty in finance, we have a great opportunity for you here." And what that just did, it told him that we put a premium on customer service.
Yeah.
And I told a lot of people about interviews. This is, "So you're here to interview for what?" "To be a plumber, sir." I says, "We have no plumber openings at all. None. In fact, I don't think we've ever had one." And they'll get kind of upset. I says, "But if you're if you're applying to be a customer service expert and you have a specialty in plumbing, we have a great opportunity for you." And
that's a great way. Yeah.
Yeah. Then we'll sit down and interview. And so right now they can actually think about when they answer questions, putting it into a customer service context.
Right.
And when my first CEO at that hospital, Brian Adams, interviewed me, he said, "John," he said, I can't remember at what point we were talking, and but I had said to him, I said, "Brian, this healthcare system," I'm gonna leave the name out of it. "This healthcare system has 42 campuses. It's got a common name. It's got a common brand, and we attempt to give the same experience everywhere. But each hospital is like children. They're going to have a unique personality. And I hope this campus is known for its customer service. And that starts with the leaders that you hire. You must get leaders who are not afraid and intimidated or bothered that a peer is going to come to them and let them know about something that they've seen happen by one of their staff members. Because a lot of time you end up with trench warfare inside a business. Yeah. This is my trench, my moat. Don't cross my moat. Don't come into my area. Don't tell me that my staff are doing whatever wrong or incorrect or not fulfilling the mission statement of the organization. They get angry and upset about that. And I've seen that at my first two hospitals, which were decades old in establishment. But being a brand new hospital, we can prevent those experiences from taking place. And so during the first 13 and a half years I was there, from the time we opened, we did not have that territory infringement problem. Nice. Leaders felt comfortable correcting employees tactfully, professionally, following up with letting the leader know, "Hey, I noticed that Mary had a tongue stud in her mouth. And I told her that against policy, we can't do that. And I asked her to please go to the restroom and remove it. And so I wanted you to know that I had that conversation. And you should be able to correct other employees tactfully and professionally. In fact, in the Marine Corps, we teach that you can correct anyone, regardless of rank, in a tactful, professional manner.
True. Yeah.
So I'll tell you one. Because I didn't talk about the general who had a smudged forehead, did I?
I don't remember that.
Remember, I told you that naivety was a gift that I was given.
Mm-hmm.
It also means I didn't do well in school and I didn't pay attention to pop culture. So I was raised a Protestant. So that's all I knew. And I didn't know the general was a Catholic, but apparently he was. Nice to know. I wish I had that information beforehand.
Yeah.
So it's a Wednesday and I got good memory for things and dates and all that kind of stuff. People say, man, you've got like a photographic memory. Well, this one doesn't require photographic memory when you hear the story. So the general's walking out of his area, clearing out into the main corridor, and I'm approaching him. I go, good morning, mate. Good morning, General. Are you aware that you've got a smudge on your forehead? And he looked at me with a scowl. Didn't say a freaking word. So I walk on, continue where I was going to go talk to the aide. I says, boy, is the general in a bad mood today? He says, no, he's not. What did you say? I said, I let him know tactfully and professionally that he had dirt and a smudge on his forehead. You didn't. I said, I did. Every Marine should feel comfortable correcting every Marine, regardless of rank. It was done tactfully and professionally. He said, it's Ash Wednesday, you idiot. So I said, what, is that like some celebration where we put ashes on our forehead? You know, I dug the hole deeper because no one told me that Ash Wednesday was a Catholic process where they symbolize whatever. And so
that's pretty awesome. But hey, it's good that you went and did it. I mean, if that's what you thought, you're supposed to correct them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
General knows I'm not afraid. I did it tactfully and professionally. General knows I'm an idiot. I learned that I'm an idiot. And I also learned Ash Wednesday comes around every year. So before I had LASIK on my eyes, I had black plastic frame glasses, an upscale version of birth control glasses from the 70s and 80s.
Right.
And but I decided to get a special set. One was bifocals and one was computer only. Okay. And so I thought, how can I tell the difference between the two? Because it bothered me a couple of times. I grabbed the wrong set and now I'm blind and can't do shit because everything's beyond 15 inches. So I took some gold paint and I put it on the bridge of the glasses. And then I was happy. What a great idea. Another great idea by John Crouch. I conduct a whole day of interviews for the new hospital.
Yeah.
I come home now. And of course, I'm taking glasses on and off all day long, right? And sometimes I'll just take them off while talking and put them back on. Nobody told me I had a gold dot dead center on my bridge of my nose, right there on the forehead, where the people of Indian culture put a red dot typically. Now, I don't know what a gold dot might symbolize, but I had a gold dot.
Yeah.
It was very luminescent. And it was the size of almost an eraser on a pencil. And so I took my glasses off when I got home, took off my tie. That I even remember the tie that day. It was an American flag tie. And then I looked, what the hell is that? I got up there and looked. I couldn't fucking believe it. So we didn't have rear-facing cameras back then in 2012. Yeah. So I took a regular camera that was digital. I said, hey, babe, to my wife, I said, I'd like you to take a picture of me with my glasses on, and then I'm going to take them off. But I'm going to hold the glasses upside down. You can still see a trace of the gold paint in the bridge of the nose where they made contact. And she took a nice picture and cleaned up really good. It's a nice close-up. And I made a nice Facebook post about the gold dot on the forehead.
That's pretty good. And nobody told you.
Nobody told me, but yes, I do it all over again because I actually told myself I'm only going in for 3 years because I needed a place to stay. It's kind of like the movie Major Payne, where he's being kicked out of the Marine Corps, and he has to, laying on the bed, drunk, ceiling fan, replicating the scene from Apocalypse Now. I gotta get a job, is what he was saying. You know, so he went to apply to get a job as law enforcement first before he ended up in junior ROTC at a military academy. But Dad was rolling up that welcome mat. All I'm doing is drinking, blowing my money, not saving anything, and have no promise whatsoever of ever leaving the house. Yeah. And no parent wants to think the kids will spend their whole life there. It's different if there's medical issues, different if there's, like I had a stepdaughter when they had COVID, when it happened, she was a flight attendant. So she was laid off for a year. 90% of the airlines had an immediate layoff. So, yeah, it was great having her with us, and allowed us to get closer together. And but yes, if I had to do it all over again, yes, I'd be a Marine, because I kept telling myself I'm staying as long as I'm having fun. And I didn't even get the attitude of being a careerist until I made it to the 10-year mark, which actually, if I left in 92, I had 12 years in the Marine Corps at that point. And I go, holy shit, I still have a career, because I thought for sure I'd be court-martialed many times. And I thought, man, I got a clean record, no written counselings, other than the one for calling an ambulance for not calling an ambulance for a recruit. Yeah. And but yeah, I got good looking record book here. Maybe I'll go ahead and start trying to be responsible in my role as a Marine and play it by the book. But somehow intentions were good, but I kept forgetting. And then I did a third tour as a drill instructor, and I really got crazy. And at some point, I kind of matured. And
it happened eventually. As long as it happens eventually, you're good. Don't worry. All right. I always give time for words of wisdom. This is your chance. Anything you have for the listeners out there, anything you want to tell them, I open floor.
Yeah. So I've talked about this many times with civilian chain of command, and I've talked about it with a lieutenant colonel one time when he disagreed with me on holding someone accountable. I said, sir, why would you have the expectation that a Marine who is a private first class with 4 months in the Marine Corps is going to make the same mature decisions as a Marine who's been in for 18 years? He says, they're Marines, damn it, and I expect them to make mature decisions at all times. Well, it's a nice textbook answer, but it's not reality. You take a platoon of 18-year-olds and to think that they're always going to have that mature attitude of someone who's been in the Corps 18 years and have matured. I'd like to think that at some point in his early life, he too was immature and made some stupid decisions. But in the civilian world, it comes down to coaching. That's what we call it in the civilian world in management. You have an employee that is not performing a certain trait or behavior that you don't want to see continued. You want to see it stopped, and you want to see it corrected. And my belief is most people at the end of 10 years of adult employment, so let's just go ahead and say they're 30 years old, no matter what their job is, with their peer group, they're often going to think of themselves as successful. Success is not defined by a job title. It's defined by simply competence that they feel in their job, and they feel successful. And therefore, their openness, their willingness to sincerely do introspective look at themselves, to take advice and coaching from someone who's in management or HR to heart and actually try to make adjustments, I'm going to say that you can capture, if you're lucky, 25%. And it depends on the effectiveness of that leader that's talking to them, because not everybody in management is an effective leader that has the ability to communicate effectively and through reputation of observed behavior is able to take those others who may feel embarrassed, but you allow them grace to recover from. And now let's say that they're 40 years old. So now they've been working 20 years employment. You're lucky to get 10% of the people still willing to do an honest assessment and an honest effort to make changes to their work persona to fit with the company culture.
Wow.
And to better the team. Now what happens when they're 50, right?
Yeah.
Is it 3%, 5%? How many leaders are still willing to introspectively look at themselves and think, where can I change and do things differently and better?
Yeah.
And here I am. I'll be 66 in a couple months. And I still am receptive to input from other people. And when I read something of value, of interest, I don't read the self-help books on leadership and stuff. I read, military books, and that's where I get my leadership from. Just the examples of the human experience in combat or in military service.
Right.
And then I'll read LinkedIn articles, and I've written many, many LinkedIn articles myself. Always focus on leadership. And in the civilian world, the HR perspective on how to manage people and manage the organization. And from words of wisdom is that be willing to look at yourself and to make tough decisions too, in the sense that I had an employee that was my manager for facilities in maintenance. He's competent at it. But he was not the type of motivational leader. I'm a decentralized leader type. I had the ability to be an authoritarian, but there's far and few places that you do that. Right. Entry-level boot camp, entry-level officer training, prison system, from RTC to a certain extent. That's where you do that. Corrections, but not the rest of the world. That's not my style. And I allow people to grow, experience failure, and to find success and create success. And I do that without co-managing, and I don't micromanage. So for words of wisdom, people like to do what they're comfortable with, and that is to continue. Man, I've been doing this job for 9 years. I'm comfortable. I'm the best at it in this company, probably in the industry, one of the top. Well, you just got promoted to another level up. And so what's the first mistake they usually make? They're still co-managing and doing some of those responsibilities that they know how to do. It's fun, it's easy, and they're not doing what they're supposed to do and let somebody else do the job their way. And that to spend their time focused on doing what they're supposed to be doing in their job, which may not be fun stuff.
Right.
The type of paperwork you do or whatever in management. And when I have employees that have failed, I always tell them at the very beginning, I'll say, whether HR is present or not, it doesn't matter. I tell them, if it's fact, I don't lie to them. I said, first of all, I need you focused 100% on what I'm saying. So I don't need you playing chess, trying to figure out 3 moves down what I'm going to say.
Right.
You're not being fired. You still have your job. Now, let's talk about what happened. And I talk about what happened and why it's a problem and what the correct response should have been to that situation. And this is the performance improvement plan that we're going to apply here. This is either a written counseling or this is a final written counseling. This is probation, whatever it may be. I said, I will forget about this long before you have.
Yeah.
It's important for you that when you leave here, your chin is high. You took a hell of a punch, self-inflicted, in my opinion, but you took a hell of a hit to your reputation and your to me, and the reputation to your team and the reputation to this company. But you can recover from this.
Yeah.
But you must make sure that this never happens again. You must make sure that you're focused on being successful here. And I said, but that's really important to them. I will forget about this before you have.
That's powerful. I like that.
And so then the article that I wrote on my LinkedIn, it says, and this very important from that point forward, that for the next probably 7 times that you see them, you are always the first one to initiate a gradient or acknowledgement of their presence in that space as they approach you or that you're there, because that forces them to have verbal dialogue with you. And of course, your tone should be not disapproving or parental, but it should be loving and caring. But wisdom for listeners, and that is treat people the way you want to be treated. And
that's good. I like it.
At one point, I was a masochist. I wanted to be threatened.
Oh man. Well, I don't know about you, but I've had a blast listening to your stories. So thanks for coming on and sharing all these stories. Obviously, people out there can get some more stories by I don't know, maybe downloading the book. Is it a?
Yeah, so it's in PDF.
Okay.
It's an EPUB, which is an electronic digital edition, just like a PDF, just a different file format. It's on Kindle, and it's hardcover and softcover. Hardcover and softcover take about 7 to 10 days to arrive off the printing press, but it will never go out of print because it's print on demand. I did not go through a publisher. So I created my own publishing company called YUT, Y-U-T, exclamation point.
It's so awesome. All right. Well, shoot. Anything else, John?
I feel like we've been friends for a long time, AJ.
We have been. We go way back.
I'm going to miss these therapy coaching sessions that I paid for. A lot of people don't know it, but these veterans who come on here are actually coming through a medical program. Our insurance pays for AJ to talk to us for 2 hours at an episode. I happen to have a lot of trauma, so it took 12 episodes, 24 hours of emotional relief. But I do believe that I'm going to be successful in life now because I've released these demons from my soul, and notice my glow is much better now. And it's not.
That was good. I'm gonna put that in a commercial or something. That was good. I like that.
All right.
All right. Well, thanks again for coming on and doing this. Much appreciated. All right. To all the listeners out there, if you're struggling, need help, anything like that, don't forget the VA does have some good resources. You can always dial 988, press option 1. You can always text 838-255 or go to veteranscrisisline.net, click on the chat icon. Any of those options will put you in contact with somebody that can help you out. But remember, one veteran life loss is one too many. I care about you. I know John cares about you.
I love you.
That's right. And all the veteran community. So please reach out for help. And if you're out there, you're not struggling, reach out to a buddy you serve with, ask them how they're doing. And if they need a helping hand, please give it to them. And like John said, I love you too. And John, I love you. You did a heck of a job. So thanks for coming on and sharing. It's been a fun time.
Thank you, Dr. Cox.
To everybody out there, stay motivated. Change your socks.
No more 22. On to the journey and finish the fight.